Well, you seem like a nice bunch. We're going to bring on our next act. You ready for your next act? Our next act is called JJ Whitehead. We're going to go wild and crazy and welcome him to the stage on the count of three. Start stamping our feet. 1, 2, 3, go. Let's start clapping those hands. Let's start whooping. Let's start cheering. Come on. Loads of noise. Give it up for JJ Whitehead.
Everybody, give him a round of applause. How you doing? Is it Witch King? Lich King? Something King. Awesome. Hello. Thanks for staring at me. I'm getting so used to this. This is like, I've been here all week. This is like my 9th show, and I love the Liverpool audience, but when you guys hear my accent, you all go, wait a minute. He's not from around here. Let's make him uncomfortable as fuck. I'm from Eastern Canada. I'm from a military family. One woo. One fucking person at the back. Eastern Canada. I've heard of it. It exists. Excellent. Thank you for the woo, man. Totally comfortable now. I've been looking forward to the pandemic rules being lifted so that I could come over and hang out with you guys again, you know? I was here 3 months ago, and I missed you for the last 3 months, because, I mean, this is the only place I've traveled to where COVID didn't happen. And your attitude is priceless. I love hearing government goes, we should all be really careful. And you guys went, let's fucking party in the streets. Who gives a shit? Boy, did we all make bad decisions in pandemic times, didn't we? Not good at all, man. I live in Los Angeles, and, you know, we're told to shut ourselves indoors, and we fucking... Did anybody learn anything about themselves? No. Did anybody try? We tried for 1 week, didn't we? We all fucking tried to bake bread or some shit. Everybody's got a 1 week used bread baker fucking thing in their house right now. Then we watched terrible television. We made Tiger King the #1 TV show in the world. What a moronic hive mind choice that was. We could have improved on ourselves. We could have watched the classics. Shit that our parents have told us that they grew up watching. We could have learned about it, but no. We went this crack-dealing exotic animal abuser. This is the celebrity the world needs in the time of a pandemic. #1 TV show in the world, now in prison. What a fucking roller coaster ride his life went on during the pandemic. #1 TV show and now in prison. He had Bill Cosby's entire television career compacted into one pandemic. TV's ridiculous. And now I'm here, and you guys, I don't know how you fucking do it, man, but I lived here for 15 years, right? I started my comedy career here. I love yous all very much. I lived Edinburgh, Manchester, London. Miss yous, but your television, holy shit. You always outdo yourselves. So like I said, last time I lived here, you had a show called Dating in the Dark. And even then, I remember watching Dating in the Dark, you know, where, do you remember that one? And they would unleash a couple of idiots in the dark, and sometimes even though the lights were off, they were still blindfolded. I don't know why they did that, but then they'd just be in there, and it was just basically a sexual assault waiting to happen in the dark, and my little Canadian brain would always watch that shit go, this can only happen in Britain. Only in Britain do they go, let's turn the lights off and just put them in the room until they fondle each other. And I thought, there's no way you guys can outdo yourselves. This can't happen in America. There's no way they would allow it on TV. And this has got to be the furthest, the closest to the edge. And now I'm back, and you got this naked attraction. Holy shit! How did you come up with that idea? Just naked people in Perspex boxes, formerly with dignity, I'm sure. They can't do that anywhere else in the world, but you people are like, no, let's fucking put it on prime time. Watershed. You still only have 5 fucking prime time. At prime time TV, there's a 20% chance you're just going to see genitals in Perspex boxes. Welcome to Britain. I don't know how you're going to outdo yourselves next time. The only thing I can think is if you remove the lack of contact. Because now there's the situation where the person's like, are you ready to meet the love of your life? The person's like, I can't wait. And then she's like, unveil the genitals. He's like, ooh, I think I can marry her. There's no contact. So I think this being my last night in Liverpool, and I will miss yous, but when I come back next year, I think you'll have outdone yourselves again. You'll have added contact somehow. I think the contestant will be sat in a chair. Maybe he'll get blindfolded. And then one after another, the pics will have to come out and just maybe slap their genitals on him. So he'll just be sitting there, and then a tit will hit him in the forehead. And he'll be like, oh, she seems nice. Just a cock on the wrist or something. I can take him home to mom. You're ridiculous. You're a ridiculous people. And then you make great choices. America was a bit tense during the pandemic. I mean, I'm Canadian, though, so I'm from Nova Scotia. I'm from a military family in Nova Scotia, but my family's very cautious as well. Nova Scotia was scarily cautious during the pandemic. I didn't see my family for 2.5 years. And it's nice to be here, though. I don't have to have the crazy arguments with some of my friends, because I started touring again last year, but there was strict rules. You had to be vaccinated to come to a show last year. You just had to. That's the rules. I can accept you not being vaccinated, but you have to accept the rules. My friends are being idiots, though. They're like, well, I can't come to a show just because I'm not vaccinated. That's got to be against my rights. Because you can have all kinds of other idiots at your shows. You can have criminals. You can have felons. You can have pedophiles at your shows. But you can't have me just because I'm not vaccinated. And I was like, yeah, dude. Kind of makes sense to me. Nobody's ever come to one of my shows and caught pedophilia. It's never been a concern that we've had in society. Have you ever had that conversation? Did you hear about Gary? Oh, shit. He went to JJ Whitehead's show last night, and today he can't stop fucking kids. We told him to wear his mask. But he knew the risks. It'd be a hell of a danger, eh? Right now we just get a cough and a sore throat and our grandparents die. But imagine if you could catch an acute case of kitty fiddling. Maybe that's what happened at Buckingham Palace. I'm super happy that you guys fucking applauded that. Because that line doesn't exist as soon as I go back to America. Do you imagine me trying that line on an American audience? I imagine that's what happened at Buckingham Palace. Just a bunch of Americans going, what the fuck's that? So thanks, man. I appreciate that. There was an awkward masturbation incident in my hotel recently. So there's no way to warm you into it. I was end of a tour. I was watching television. I was being Canadian. I was watching a hockey game. Wasn't touching the remote or anything. And the menu just came on out of nowhere and just started scrolling down to the porn. I was like, what the hell's going on? I'm trying to watch a hockey game. I grabbed the remote. I went back up to the hockey game, and the TV went back down to the porn. I was like, this is fucking weird, man. I want to watch the game. So one more time, I returned to the hockey game. TV went back down to the porn. I was so baffled until once again I returned to the hockey game, and that's when I heard another man screaming in the next hotel room. Just through the wall, I heard some dude go, oh, for fuck's sake! That's when I realized that his remote control and my remote control are on the same frequency. And we're changing each other's televisions through the wall. So whereas I did want to watch a hockey game, clearly in the next room I got some naked, lubed up, sexually depraved motherfucker desperately trying to deal with his demons. Probably feels like his television's talking back to him. Like, dude, you've been in here for 2 days and I've seen you masturbate 13 times. Why don't you take a break from yourself and watch the rest of this hockey game? Now that I knew what was going on, I couldn't help but fuck with him through the wall, too. I let him go down into his dirty movies, and just as it got interesting, bam, back to the hockey game. In the end, I had an important decision to make. You know, I could either go for a walk or, you know the saying, if you can't beat them, beat it. So I allowed him to go down into the dirty menu, and he picked a film called Harry Milfs on the Run, which is I was disgusted with him. And 10 minutes later, I was disgusted with myself. I did what I could to gather my pride at the end of this event and exited my room. And upon passing his door, I couldn't help but shout at the door. I was like, dude, you got terrible taste in adult cinema. And he answered the door, and that's how I met the other comedian that I was working with for the weekend. We've been besties ever since. So this might be right. Are you the Portsmouth boys here? This is yeah. Oh, right on, man. No, this might be. So I'm from Nova Scotia. I'm from Halifax. No, there's not many of us. Nobody's looking after the lighthouse while I'm here, but I believe Portsmouth is twinned with us. I think. So we're a big military town, and I grew up. My father is a navigator, seeking helicopters. Canadian military does exist. Was really weird. Like so I finally got to go home after 2.5 years because I live in LA. But I got to go home and see my parents and do some shows. And there was a very awkward moment because I followed a comedian in Nova Scotia. I followed a comedian who did 10 minutes on eating ass, right? Like, big fan. He's a big fan. Just drilling down on eating ass. Good solid 10 minutes of it. I remember I was in the green room. I just keep looking over at my parents. And they're just watching this comic talk about eating ass, which is fine, but it got weird the next day because at dinner, my mother's like egging my dad on, and then my dad asked me at dinner, he goes like, son, I was like, yes, Dad. He goes, that comic last night who was talking about eating ass. I was like, yes, Dad. He goes, why didn't he just say brown nosing or sucking up? And I was like, oh, shit, it's a totally different thing, Dad. I mean, technically, it's brown-nosing, but not like you're thinking. I just think it's remarkable to think that my parents watched a comic do 10 minutes on eating ass, and the whole time they were sitting there thinking, wow, this guy really wants to climb the corporate ladder. I'll tell you my newest observation since I came here, because there is something that frustrates me about California, and I could never figure out why, right? I couldn't figure out why, and it's taken me being here during this heat wave to realize. I came over, I've been here for a week, staying with a friend. His cat keeps attacking me. Cat, great pet, but the heat's making it crazy. So wherever I'm lying in the garden, it just comes at me. And then it was so hot the other day, the fucker couldn't do anything. He just kind of lay in the garden staring at me, and we just had a stare off. And I was like, oh, it's too hot for hate. And it's just made me think a lot about how I'd really like to get a pet. I don't have a pet in Los Angeles. I travel a lot. I can't even keep plants alive. So honestly, it's California too. I have a cactus, and while I was away last time, an aloe vera plant that I have killed the cactus. That's how shitty I am. But there's a law in California, you guys may not know this, but there's a law that you have to rescue animals. You can't just get the animal you want. You guys have that freedom here to go, you can see a breeder if you want a certain type of dog. I think that's a great luxury to have. And in California, it's illegal. You'll go to prison if you see a breeder. You have to rescue it. Yeah, it's fucking weird, isn't it? All animals, you can look it up later if you're interested. It's a weird rule, I think, because I feel like every animal, as soon as it gets shit onto this planet, has to be rescued anyway. I feel like it's fucking weird. And I think it's really weird to think that now, if I want the pet that I want, I have to get it from the breeder, put it in a plastic bag, tie it up, throw it in a lake, swim out and rescue the fucker. And that's a weird way to start a relationship with a pet. I have had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, man. My name is JJ Whitehead. Look me up on the interwebs if you like my comedy. Have yourselves a good time. Meantime.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it for JJ Whitehead.